Is the DJI Mavic 3 Pro upon us? It has been nearly 3 years since the release of the amazing 2, and it still holds up pretty well, but I think that it's time for them to once again blow our minds with the next evolution of the Mavic Pro 3. I think it's time. So we just got the release of the Air 2S, which is just a phenomenal little drone, but kind of a mix of everything, a middle of the road kind of drone between the Mini and of course the Pro level Mavic series. So I'm kind of having a hard time seeing where that thing fits in, but it does kind of make sense as the best option right now. But having the Mavic 3 coming out pretty soon, I don't know how many people are actually going to pull the trigger on this guy, but it gives us a really good indication on where we're at in terms of technology and what we can expect out of this thing. So I don't like to do a ton of rumors and spec videos beforehand. I like to keep it reasonable because we've got some, at this point, pretty reasonable and some pretty reputable spec and rumor releases, but there are also some, pretty crazy stuff out there. So I like to keep it reasonable, guys, and it's also a way to give our input to the companies that do watch these videos so we can kind of set our expectations about what we're really looking for and what we're not, of course. So let's talk about a few of the things that are rumored here for the Mavic Pro 3, some of the things that are looking pretty darn exciting, and hopefully a big upgrade over the still capable 2. Number one is the bigger and better sensor. It looks like we may be getting an incredible, possibly 8K sensor. Now this is probably going to be limited around 30 frames per second. I still don't really see a huge need for 8K video for the most part, but in 4K it's rumored to shoot up to 240 frames per second, which is just insane. I don't really know who really needs 240 frames per second. 120 is usually pretty adequate, especially in 4K. That's incredible. But we can expect to see at least 150 megabits per second 10-bit shooting, so the quality of this drone is going to be absolutely incredible. Now that makes sense because with the new Air 2S, we see, well, an upgraded 1-inch sensor with great dynamic range and 5.4K shooting and also 4K up to 120, I believe. So really capable drone and really exciting to see them pushing it. But for that Mavic, they really got to set the bar. And that's going to be really the go-to professional content creator drone without getting into the big crazy production kind of things, if you ask me. So as far as battery life's concerned, the Mavic 2 Pro had great 31-minute battery life. I'd like to see that pushed a little bit more as our battery technology gets better and better. And you really can't have it all because the more sensors and tech that you pack into it, of course, there has to be compromise because it uses more juice, but hopefully we get at least the same or maybe even a little bit more. But anything over 30 minutes is just insane. But of course, in real world scenarios, especially if you're shooting out in the cold, you can probably expect maybe mid-20s or maybe even a little bit less for the most part. It'll be interesting to see whether they split this drone up into a couple different options like the Zoom and the regular Pro. I don't know if they're going to go ahead and do that, but it would be pretty interesting to see what they can come up with. What was your go-to in terms of the Mavic 2 if you did own it? Did you get the regular version or did you go with the Zoom? Let me know down in the comments and why. So some leaked renderings do show that it looks like the drone has been completely revamped, and the rumor has it that it may include some dust or moisture proofing or resistance, which would be next level. Imagine going out there and being able to shoot in any weather conditions. You do get trapped in the odd rainstorm or here and there, and it's nice to have that added confidence when you're flying around in a drone that's worth a couple $1,000s. So that would be amazing to see and really, really set the bar in my opinion. Here's to hoping for that. So getting back to that Air 2S and what we may see spill over, it does have obstacle avoidance, but not in the sides. So we can expect to see, of course, that spillover from the Mavic Pro 2 into the 3 and have obstacle avoidance on all sides so you're fully protected. And I would really like to see the tracking also completely revamped or improved. As you might know, the Skydio system has a big advantage or a leap forward in terms of tracking, which I think DJI really needs to catch up on. That's what a lot of people really rely on these things for, just to set it and forget it type of thing that's becoming more and more common and reliable these days. So I'd really like to see that tracking improved. OcuSync 3, of course, the transmission and the stability is just getting out of this world. So we can definitely expect to see increased ranges and stability overall. And of course, we expect in this high-end drone that we are able to use the FPV goggles. That is something that's really neat, and I really wish and hope that they do include in a future firmware update for the Air 2S. Of course, you can't cannibalize everything and have everything for every single drone, but when you pay that amount of money, it's nice to be able to have those types of features. Other than that, it would be great to see some of the improved functions like hyperlapses and super shots and all those combined shots to form a video on its own. Something new and exciting, because every time they come out with something like this, they just blow my mind. So it's amazing to see them pushing it like that. Insta360 is a really great example of a company that really loves to push the boundaries, always including free updates to their stuff to be able to be even more creative. So to be able to see that into drones would be just amazing. Moving on, what about a release date for this drone? When can we expect it? Well, rumor has it that it's going to be coming out around the summertime, maybe August, and that would put it at exactly 3 years from the last release. So it is nice that we're not getting a ton of different types of drones coming out every other month or so. And after 3 years, I have to say that I'm really expecting a substantial upgrade to, again, the already capable Mavic Pro 2. What can you expect this thing to cost? Well, again, rumor has it it's going to be around $1,800 US, which is pricey, or around $2,000 with the Fly More combo, which you're probably going to end up going for, as it may require newer batteries and things that aren't compatible with the other drones. So you are going to have to shell out for this thing, but this may just be, and hopefully will be, the one and done forget it all drone. And the biggest and best thing, it's going to be under 250 grams. Not a chance. Absolutely not. Of course not. It's going to be big. It's going to be heavy. And that's really what it's going to come down to, in my opinion. We're going to have these little Mavic Mini, and I'm waiting patiently for a Mini 2 drone, take my money and give me some decent, really good specs with active tracking. But then we're going to have the Pro, the really professional series drones that, again, there's really no need for any middle ground anymore. The laws are the laws, and here in Canada especially, there's just really no point if you aren't a really hardcore drone enthusiast or a creator that relies on that footage to have to go through all those hoops to get the bigger, heavier drones, which is really disappointing. But for now, for me, it's the Mini 2, and I'm loving that thing. But again, it's just not gonna compare to any of these bigger ones. It's a step up. So I'm really excited for the Mavic 3 because, well, we get the trickle down effect, of course, on our smaller drones, the less expensive drones. Eventually, it just sets the bar and kind of like a flagship for what we can expect moving forward. But let me know what you are excited for in this drone and what you rely on these big types of drones for. What kind of content do you create? And do you see a huge difference these days in the ability to use your drone from, say, the Mavic Mini 2 or these Mavic Pros? So anyway, guys, let's leave it at that. I hope you liked this video. I would love to hear your feedback down below. If you liked it and you want to become part of the community, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And like always, make mistakes, be yourself, and get out there and take some more pictures. See you next time.